Hi, today's Monday, December 15th, 2025. This report is from Popular Mechanics. The title is The Dogs of Chernobyl Are Experiencing Rapid Evolution, Study Suggests. The Chernobyl is in Chechnya, I don't know, in Soviet Union, have the canines acquired strange mutations living near the power plant by Darren Orff, published December 4th, 2025. 7-minute read. Here's what you will learn when you read the story. For decades, scientists have studied animals living in or near the Chernobyl nuclear power plant to see how increased levels of radiation affect their health, growth, and evolution. A study analyzed the DNA of 302 feral dogs living near the power plant, compared the animals to others living 10 miles away, and found remarkable differences. While the study doesn't prove that radiation is the cause of these differences, the data provides an important first step in analyzing these irradiated populations and understanding how they compare to dogs living elsewhere. Irradiated, right? Irradiation. Irradiated populations. On April 26, 1986, that's when I was a freshman in college at the Cheonan National University in Gwangju City, the Chernobyl nuclear reactor in northern Ukraine, then part of the Soviet Union, exploded, sending a massive plume of radiation into the sky. Nearly 4 decades later, the Chernobyl power plant and many parts of the surrounding area remain uninhabited, by humans at least. Animals of all kinds have thrived in humanity's absence. Living among radiation-resistant fauna are thousands of feral dogs. Many of them are descendants of pets left behind in the speedy evacuation of the area so many years ago. As the world's greatest nuclear disaster approaches its 40th anniversary, right? Biologists are now taking a closer look at the animals located inside the Chernobyl exclusion zone, CEZ, which is about the size of Yosemite National Park, and investigating how decades of radiation exposure may have altered animals' genomes and even possibly sped up evolution. Animals' genomes. Scientists from the University of South Carolina and the National Human Genome Research Institute have begun examining the DNA of 302 feral dogs found in or around the CEZ to better understand how radiation may have altered their genomes. Their results were published in the journal Science Advances in 2023. Go deeper inside the Chernobyl dogs' strange genetic changes. Do they have mutations that they've acquired that allow them to live and breed successfully in this region? Co-author Elaine Ostrander, a dog genomics expert at the National Human Genome Research Institute, told the New York Times, what challenges do they face and how have they coped genetically? The idea of radiation speeding up natural evolution isn't new one. The practice of purposefully irradiating seeds in outer space to induce advantageous mutations, for example, is now a well-worn method for developing crops that are well suited for a warming world. Scientists have been analyzing certain animals living within the CEZ for years, including bacteria, rodents, and even birds. One study back in 2016 found that eastern tree frogs, Hyla orientalis, which are usually a green color, were more commonly black within the CEZ. The biologists theorized that the frogs experienced a beneficial mutation in melanin pigments responsible for skin color that helped dissipate and neutralize some sort of the surrounding radiation. Interesting. So does that mean Africa is exposed to a lot of radiation from underground? This made the scientists ponder, could something similar be happening to Chernobyl's wild dogs? The study uncovered that the feral dogs living near the Chernobyl power plant showed distinct genetic differences from dogs living only some 10 miles away in nearby Chernobyl city. While this may seem to heavily imply that these dogs have undergone some type of rapid mutation or evolution due to radiation exposure, this study is only a first step in proving that hypothesis. So this is good. This study is only a first step in proving that hypothesis. However, one environmental scientist speaking with Science News says that these studies can be a tricky business, largely due to the fact that sussing out radiation-induced mutations from other effects, like inbreeding, is incredibly difficult. Sussing. I probably heard this word once or twice. Sussing out radiation-induced mutations from other effects like inbreeding is incredibly difficult. And in the times since the original study was published, other researchers have dug into this question and come up with competing results. In fact, a study published nearly 2 years later confidently asserts that we can cross radiation off the list of explanations for the current state of the Chernobyl canine population. Cross off, right? Cross off. Suss out. Cross off. Chernobyl, published in the journal PLOS ONE by scientists from North Carolina State University and Columbia University Mailman School of Public Health in New York. This new genetic analysis looked at the chromosomal level of the genome level and even the nucleotides of the Chernobyl dogs and found no abnormalities indicative of radiation-induced mutations. Abnormalities To establish a baseline for comparison, the team compared the genome of Chernobyl city dogs located 10 miles from the CEZ to dogs found in regions of Russia, Poland, and other nearby countries. Okay, baseline, to establish a baseline for comparison. To establish a baseline for comparison. Cross out, asserts, chernobyl, looked at study, published nearly 2 published research since original study was, I don't know. Once they determined that the populations were genetically similar, they then used the Chernobyl city dogs as a representative control for their study. Of course, the task wasn't simple, as more than a couple dozen dog generations have passed since the original pups that witnessed to the Chernobyl meltdown in 1986. We know that, for example, exposure to high doses of radiation can introduce instability from the chromosomal level on down. Matthew Breen, senior author of the study from North Carolina State University, said in a press statement, while this dog population is 30 or more generations removed from the one present during the 1986 disaster, right? Generations removed from one present during that, right? More generations removed, not apart or not away, but is removed from. Right, let's remember that. Mutations would likely still be detectable if they conferred a survival advantage to those original dogs. But we didn't find any such evidence in these dogs. That said, 2023 study still provides a template for further investigation into the effects of radiation on larger mammals, as the DNA of dogs roaming the Chernobyl power plant and nearby Chernobyl city can be compared to dogs living in non-irradiated areas. Despite a current lack of firm conclusions, the study was shown once again that an area that, by all rights, should be a wasteland has become an unparalleled scientific opportunity to understand radiation and its impact on natural evolution. So there's no chromosomal level advantageous mutations among the PAC 302 feral dogs that live in or around the Chernobyl disaster nuclear reactor, right? So, but they found what? I cannot remember what they found. It's just that there are no significant mutations. And it's also interesting that there are like several dog generations removed from the one that witnessed to the event. From this article, we learn such expressions as striking appearance, right? Chernobyl, chromosomal abnormalities, abnormality or abnormal lattice. Abnormal, right? Abnormality. Abnormality is much better, man. But abnormalities. Well, let's go back and see what I stored More generations removed from the one present during the 1986 disaster, abnormalities to establish a baseline for comparison, sussing out, right? Sussing out, cross out, sussing out, cross out, sussing out, cross off. This study is only a first step in proving that hypothesis. This study is only a first step in proving that hypothesis. Yeah, they show the distinctive genetic differences from dogs living only some 10 miles away in nearby Chernobyl city. While this may seem to heavily imply that these dogs have undergone some type of rapid mutation or evolution due to radiation irradiated approaches its 40th anniversary, sped up evolution, it approaches the 40th anniversary, it approaches 40th anniversary, is sped up evolution, irradiated population. I heard that pilots and flight attendants, they are exposed and get irradiated. So they are called irradiated population, right? Irradiated population. Approaches its 40th anniversary evolution. This study is only a first step in proving that hypotheses, sussing out, crossing off, abnormalities. Let's go back and check out the pronunciation. Abnormality.
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 Abnormality. Suss. Investigate, look into, examine.
Suss.
Yeah, I don't back down until I get the full grasp of the world. Chiefly a British slang to investigate or figure out, usually followed by our suss out, often followed by out, to attempt to work out a situation, a person's character, etc., especially using one's intuition. Suss out, sussing out.